Right, okay. So to briefly introduce myself, I am Dhan Illiani Yusof. I'm from Malaysia. I work as a multi-disciplinary artist. I'm a fashion graduate. So I do tend to mix a lot of like fabric styling works in my art pieces. So it's a cross between art and fashion at most times. I do also do performance art, something that I took up quite recently, almost 2 or 3 years in, but I would still consider that new. Right, so this is just some of my works. And okay, I'm mostly into conceptual photography and performance, as you can see. So I like to incorporate technically anything that I feel could be interesting within my garments. So as you can see, like I've tried with the jantung pisang, which is like the heart of the banana tree. I'm not sure what it is in English, as a tie. And I sometimes do fabric installations as well, photographing not only myself, but sometimes my friends to see and play around with how it sort of transfers onto a fabric and how it can sort of translate. That's the one with Me on Fire. That's a performance piece. And it's actually, that's the conceptual photography version of it. So I actually burned my shawl in the middle of the road. Yeah, so these are like some of the few things that I do. Sometimes it can be illustrated, sometimes it could be performance art, visual art, video art, but we'll go more into that later on. So next slide. It's in Bahasa Malaysia though, so Bahasa Melayu, so you may not understand it.
Pusing untuk arah. Pusing darah. Pusing cari makna. Nikmat jawatan lapisan nyawa. Pusing penat membawa. Sayang your love. Jangan melayang. Berputar-putar hati, akal, jadi sangka. Berputar-putar 24 jam pusing. Why the same? Pusing jadi luang. Pusing.
Yeah, I think that's done with. Yeah. I do like to play with garments to see, to sort of symbolize what sort of social issues that's happening currently in my country that we tend to feel strongly about. So my works usually center around mental health, identity, womanhood. That's 3 of the usual topics that I highlight on.
Why the same?
So this piece, if it's not obvious enough, it is about
Okay.
the rising suicide cases that Malaysia has been experiencing since the pandemic, since we have like the world's longest lockdown, which is 3 months of not being able to go out. So I wanted to convey like how tiring it was to sort of balance between work and also burnout. Next slide. So I do tend to work in the fashion side. So I have my art side and then my more fashion centric ventures, and then there's my actually yeah, between the two. So I don't exactly have a basis of education in art other than in fashion, which I studied only at a diploma level. So other than that, I am considered an outsider artist. So for most of the things I learned, they were mostly from friends from my community. So I was more practical than theoretical in my ventures, and it helped to shape my own practice that encompass of what I learned from different creative individuals and the projects I pick up on. So, it's important to note that you don't technically always need to have a backing in education wise. You can just always learn from the people around you. It's technically one of the best ways for you to understand how to mold experiences in real time, knowing a better sense of how realistically your ideas will flow out. And one of the things is that I find tough is finding how unpredictable it is working with people and different variables and collaborators. It's one of the hardest things, I think. I have to sort of always figure out. Wait. Sherry, you're going too fast. Okay, so I do a lot of interactive projects as well. I like to, again, because I want to learn how viewers perceive my work and how they interact with my work. So one of the things I do is I do like tote bag projects where I ask them to send me pictures of themselves or just anything objects wise, and I'll turn them into a tote bag to collage them together. So it's like a specialized sort of tote bag. And I also do like the cat print, where technically I can customize your cat into guardian angels, throwing your worries in volcanoes. I do play around with how to put in little bits of people's lives in my work so that it becomes more of like something we made together rather than just me. So I think that's one of the things with fabric as well. When you're creating clothing for people, you're creating it for people. So you need to learn about like what their interests are and how to make it feel like it's them. So I do the same with like my artworks and my art projects as well. And then moving on. So now I do mostly, I'm tapping into like film works, doing short films and creative direction works for music videos. So this is, yeah, I know I do a lot of cat-centric things. I love cats. Who doesn't? So this is one that I did for Sonawan, a Malaysian rapper who's partly French. So he's rapping in French, Bahasa Malaysia, and also English here. I did the creative direction. Yeah, this was an interesting project, maddening. I also do like sometimes collaborations for certain causes that issues that I feel strongly about. Like for instance, the Worse Than Split Ends is about imposter syndrome. So I try to envision it in a way where people can sort of relate to this issue, and that's technically a collaboration for a T-shirt with a campaign T-shirt campaign. And the one under is Kobe's Merah, which is for an exhibition that I did in Indonesia 2-3 years back now. It's been a while, yeah. It's a short film about menstruation and period taboo in Malaysia. Next. Okay. So these are like most of my recent works, which is a lot of fabric installations, conceptual photography, performance as well. And these are mostly what I'm focusing at the moment. And to sum it up, next, I'm gonna sum it up. So this is a fabric work that I did before. It's called soft bonds. So technically, it's just flowers dried flowers encased in silk, and these are all local flowers, and they are sewn into the boxes. I don't have that with me at the moment because I just sent it off for a shoot. But I have this, which is similar, which is the same concept in a way, except it's on the outer layer. So what I like is seeing how they go from vibrant flowers to slowly fading away. So it's sort of like an analogy about life. Next. And this is something that I do want to continue, and I want it to be ongoing. It's a project where it's called Hidup Sehari Dalam Fabric. To translate it directly, it is to live one day in a T-shirt, or to live one day in clothing, in fabric. So what I did is I spent different days, three to 4 days, where each day, I wear a plain T-shirt, and throughout the day, I will slowly sort of put in elements of the things that I do in the day, the things that I do or find, and I sew it in place on my T-shirt. Like for instance, in the first picture, you can see that I found a picture of myself as a child, so I put that in. And then I had a moment where I cut my hair, so I sewed the hair in place. Now I found like a comb, and I took off my makeup, and you could see it on the tissue. So it was like sort of me trying to fill in the space and time around me, but in the version of fabric. So what if time is placed in a fabric? So that's what I was trying to do in this project. So I thought this would be interesting to be an ongoing project where I actually go out with a plain T-shirt and slowly accumulate the things that I placed on the T-shirt from the things that I do outside to see what happens. Yeah. So I like that project because it doesn't have a past, present, or future, because technically all those elements, all those things and objects come from different time frames that I don't know where they're from. And finally, my when it comes to fabric, I do like works by Nadia Nizamuddin. She's a multidisciplinary artist as well, but she dabbles in more embroidery and more definitely more fabric centric than I am. So she does like this beautiful embroidery and like painting pieces, and it's surrounding like my culture, which is the Malay culture, and like how she tackles on like the conservative side and how it can be quite restrictive to women